Good morning, everyone. First and foremost, the first responders out there and everyone that has to come to work to keep us moving in the right direction. Thank you for everything. I appreciate it. But unfortunately, sadly, we lost another county resident last night. My heart and condolences and my prayers go out to the family. It was a woman in her 60s with underlying health issues. But again, my heart goes out to all 31 of the other families and to this family last night that lost their loved one. As of today, we have 915 confirmed coronavirus cases. We're up 51 from yesterday, and we have 803 people under mandatory quarantine, which is up 57 from yesterday, and we have 32 people under precautionary quarantine. That is down from yesterday. At our nursing home, as of today, at Shaker Place, our county nursing home, we have 42 residents who have tested positive, and we have 19 employees that have tested positive, and one of them has recovered and is back at work. We have 2,027 people that have completed quarantine. Of those, 478 that were positive with the coronavirus have recovered and are back to work and back to being home if they're not working. And we have 37 people hospitalized with a hospitalization rate of 4.04%, up a little bit from yesterday. And we still have 7 adults in the ICU. So again, my prayers and thoughts goes out to their families and to everybody at this time. Remember, with the testing going on at Albany, the mobile testing that we're doing around the county, these numbers are going to go up. We are aggressively testing for these reasons to make sure we're trying to, first and foremost, anyone that has any signs and symptoms, we're taking care of and getting you the proper treatment that you need. So as always, please, if you can drive, go to Albany. Thanks to Governor Cuomo and his team for setting that up on a regional approach. And if you don't have transportation, go to one of our mobile sites, which you can look at our website. We have up at albanycounty.com. You can click on there in the tab and see exactly where the new schedule's at, where we're moving around, and we'll be announcing some of the other places, but we will be in Cohoes this week. So again, please, by all means, and two, for our mobile testing, you can call 465-4771, 465-4771, and that's with Whitney Young, and I can't thank them enough for being a great partner through all this, and everyone that's been involved with this to make it happen. And the drive-through, the Rite Aid on Central Avenue, so please make sure you go to their website to set up appointments, and they've been a great partner making sure we're getting a lot of people tested. So thanks to them and Supervisor Paul Mahan for all her support and the town board. Thank you. Things are changing. People are at home, people are working from home, offices are gonna look a lot different when people come back to work. The way we conduct business is gonna be different. You're doing meetings now on Zoom and Skype, how we're relating to board meetings, legislative meetings, open meetings that we have to have with our different boards. These are things that you have to change with times. And one person I've learned from over the years is a person that has definitely always changed with times, always on top of things, always looking at how you can do businesses differently. I participated in a town hall discussion with over 300 people held by Tom Nardacci in Gramercy Communications. And I have to tell you, Tom, it was quite interesting. It was different. It's kind of, you're seeing everyone on the TV. But again, you still want to be in a room with people, right? And but we have to do things differently. And Tom, for setting that up, I can't thank you enough. I learned a lot. There's a lot of people on there. But again, Tom does a great job. And I thought, who better to have come in to not only just talk about that, but how he sees companies changing, his own company. He has Trey Innovative Garage, the Bull and Moose Club that he runs, and a variety of other stuff. So, these are things that are going to change too, and Tom continues to always reinvent his businesses and himself. And so I thought it'd be great to have you come on, Tom, and talk about some of that stuff.
Great. Thanks, Dan. First, I want to say, echo what you said about our first responders and frontline workers and people we know who are helping us get through this pandemic. Thanks to them. Thanks to the media as well for showing up every day and reporting and getting the facts out and making sure that information is disseminated properly and efficiently. And thanks to you, Mr. County Executive, for your leadership and being here every day and laying out the facts and helping people understand locally what this means and what the impacts are on a day-to-day basis. I think that's very important. And as I said to you the other day, I think that in some ways you were perfectly molded for this moment. Your life as a firefighter, first responder, and in the military as a leader, fighting in Iraq, as a soldier, and as a commander. This is one of those times where we're grateful that you have the background you have. So I appreciate everything you've done. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that.
With regards to, I think the story of small business and local businesses is one that'll play out over the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months in terms of what the impacts are. There's a lot of uncertainty right now in the world of small business and in the economy, as all of us are focused first on the public health crisis, and that's everyone's primary concern. But I have been engaged in a number of conversations with other regional business leaders, with other colleagues, about what life might look like here for us coming forward. So let me just start by talking about some of the things that we're doing. So my business that's probably best known is Troy Innovation Garage, which is a co-working space and community for startups and for solopreneurs and freelancers. We built Troy Innovation Garage, and last year we opened Bull Moose Club up at 150 State because people didn't want to work at home. People wanted to work with other people. They wanted to connect socially. They wanted to meet new people where they could have creative collisions. So my whole business model for those businesses is based around community and about bringing people together. So the ultimate challenge now is, how do you keep people together at a time like this where we're all forced to be isolated and remote? So first and foremost, we had to navigate this public health challenges initially on our own. Like, how do we deal with this? What are the things we need to be doing in our own space? So when I think back to February and March, as things were starting to happen, and really it was a little sense of relief for me. It was sad for me to close the lights and shut the doors when the governor told us all to go home, but there was a sense of relief too, because there was decisions that I didn't think I was qualified to make that we didn't have to make. And so in some ways that, although sad, was made it easier. So then we said, well, what can we do? What is our role? So initially, our role has been to keep in touch with our members and those who continue to be part of our communities. Troy Innovation Garage, Bull Moose Club have 200 people that are members, 40 companies. And so now we have all these companies and members home. How do we keep them connected? So we initially reached immediately out to all of our members and kept them connected online. We use various tools. We use Slack, for example, and we created a series of channels that were disseminating information about public health, information about small business, information about just in fun times, setting up coffees and conversations, having Frosty Fridays, the things that people who want to be social, are missing out on and craving right now. And so that was our initial kind of work, and the work that we're continuing to do every day. We have very talented creative people in our spaces, so they've developed coloring pages that people can give to their kids. So we've hosted live music on our Facebook channel every Friday. We had a DJ yesterday for like a lunchtime music session. So we've tried to implement a variety of things. With regards to small business information, we were a little bit on the front lines of helping our members to navigate the challenges of the PPP program and the SBA. And I know a lot's been reported on that, a lot's been said. And on Monday, tomorrow, the second round of PPP opens up after Congress had authorized more funding and the president signed that. Let me just tell you a little bit about my personal challenge with the PPP, because a lot of us are hearing about it and have read about it, but maybe haven't heard directly for what people had to go through and what it's meant. So I have two separate businesses. One business manages co-working spaces in real estate. The other business is a public relations and public affairs company that members of the media know me for. So my co-working companies, we applied right away for the PPP program, and we use a local bank, community bank, Pioneer Bank, and who we have a good relationship with. Pioneer financed our building in Troy, and have some good banking relationships with those guys. And thankfully, gratefully, we qualified for, and then we're just this past week, we're actually, the money was transferred into our account, so we actually were successful in getting a PPP for that business. So that's one side. So on the other side, my public relations business, I wasn't sure, because I knew that, by the way, I did that for a release because I knew that our staff was going to be immediately impacted. I knew people weren't going to pay their rent. I knew that our revenues were going to go down. And so April 1st, our co-working business took about a 30% hit for month one. So our revenues are down about 30%. And I think that the revenues will go down again in May, and then again in June, and then as this goes on and on. So the lucky side for us is that we're small enough and we're conservative enough in our approach to business that we have money, and I think we'll weather this and we'll be fine. But the loan program definitely helps to put cash in the bank to make sure that we can be fine. And I did cut payroll, so for both companies, I unfortunately had to furlough about $300,000 worth of payroll. Hardest 3 days of my life. I thought about it, I couldn't sleep, and I was tortured. I've never laid anyone off. I fired employees have quit. In 20 years in business, it happens, but I've never had to go in and say, look, it just doesn't work. I've always been successful enough to make sure that we never had to do that, but we had to, and it's played out to be the smart choice, because I had a sense that, look, we're gonna get some help, but the equivalent of what we get for our PPP is the equivalent of an individual getting a $1,200 stimulus check. It helps, but it's not gonna pay all your bills, and that's how I looked at this program. So the hope for us is that we can bring people back as soon as possible, paying close attention. Let me just give you a quick snapshot of my other business, though, because I think a lot of people went through what I went through with that side. For the public relations business, I waited because I wasn't sure that we were going to take the revenue hit that I knew we were going to take with the real estate business. So, and in fact, the public relations business has gotten more work, right, as people are trying to deal with this crisis and they need more help. So I waited a couple days. So the program went live on Saturday night, and I called on, not a long time, but I called on Wednesday, and I said, let me just call and talk to my bank. And I have a different bank that I use for that business, and I've banked with them for 9 years. So I can just imagine the people, what they're going through that have no relationship and can't call a banker, the small businesses that are literally have hardly any relationship, how hard this has been for them to navigate. And we're lucky that we have accountants and I have financial people who have all my books in order. So all the documents we need to provide are simple and easy for us to grab off QuickBooks and from our tax forms. So I called on Wednesday, and my banker, who we've enjoyed a good relationship with, said, unfortunately, we closed on Sunday. It went live Saturday. They stopped accepting applications Sunday. I called on Wednesday. They had gotten 4,000 applications in a day. And they knew that they were going to have trouble, number one, processing them, but also, two, that they might not have enough money to actually satisfy all of them. So it's a real story, and I want to share it because I think there's a lot of small businesses who are going through the same. And I've seen it and talked to different people. So this new round starts tomorrow at 10:30. I'm pretty sure, please double check my facts though. But I think if there's a message out there, people need to apply right away. They should be getting their documents together right now, and they should be ready to apply tomorrow. Let me close by this. What's the future hold? This town hall we did was a great forum. It was unprecedented in the fact that we had 24 speakers. It was long. 400 people had registered. 350 people, 360 at the peak, were listening in. And it went on for 2.5 hours, which was a lot. And the county executive helped kick it off, and I thought it was apropos that he did because of the work that he's doing right here. And to give us that calm in the storm of these are the facts. We heard from leaders from all around the region. Peter Gannon's here today from United Way talking about what the nonprofit sector is going through. Carm Bazil from CDTA, Carolyn McLaughlin, a county legislator, talking about some of the challenge that they've faced and talking about the new testing that you're doing in parts of Albany that are most impacted. Bankers talking about the program. Our idea was, even though we're isolated and we're challenged, we still have to preserve the social fabric of the capital region. People still need to be connected. We still need to talk through the challenges together. We can't all do this in isolation. And I think that was the main takeaway. Afterwards, people that got back to me were like, it was so great to hear so many people who, are sharing some of that uncertainty, but also too committed to working. We want to make sure that downtown Albany comes out of this strong, downtown Troy strong, Schenectady strong, different sectors, nonprofit, comes out of this best we can. We all know it's going to hurt. We all know that it's going to be sluggish coming out of this. And I think that's a reality that we all have to face, is that it's going to be a slow bring back. It's not going to be one day where it says, hey, this is over, go back. It's going to be 12, 24, some sectors 36 months. You're looking at people who aren't going to be able to come back for this for 3 years if they do certain sectors. 40, 50% of businesses, retail business, may not reopen. And that's a sad and hard truth that I think we just need to be thinking about preparing for. But also out of this, you're going to have innovation. You're going to have people who are doing things that they never thought they could do. And I think Carm Bazil said it best, and he said, that thing that was the playbook that we all said, well, we have to do because we always did that, you can get rid of the playbook. You can get rid of that playbook because now you can do something different. And now's that time for businesses like mine to start thinking about what are the things we can do differently. And that's some of the things that we're focused on, and a lot of other people are too. So with that, thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Tom, thanks for coming
and Mark,
and sharing that.
Especially, thank you.
It's great insight of what's going on with businesses, and Tom brought up a good point that I talked to a couple owners that I don't want to announce who they are because they've been a fabric of Albany County for generations, that said the math just does not add up to reopen. It's going to take too long to recover from what they're losing these next couple of months. And it's the same thing when I had a lot of dialogue going on with Andrew Joyce, our chair of the legislature, about it's going to be a long recovery. It's going to take the county, ourselves, probably 10 years to get out of this, and depending on how long it goes on. And I base it off the small recession we went through, 08, 09, how long it took us to dig out of that. So companies do have a lot of challenges in front of them, but we have to be there for each other, and we have to be there to help them navigate. And I thought it was great to have Tom to come in, not that you are a small business owner, but there's so many business owners out there that don't have, the relationships that you have with banks, or don't have the relationships to pick up the phone or email somebody and say, hey, how do I navigate through this application? Who do I reach out to? Because it's not, it's hard to get that information out. So Tom, thank you as always. And the other person we have here, Mark, from the Regional Food Bank, we've had a great partnership with you, right from the beginning, and with the National Guard at our Times Union Center getting food out. Listen, unfortunately, there's over 3 million people in New York State looking for jobs. There's over 20, or that are unemployed, I should say, 22 million on a national level that are unemployed. And what better partnership can I form with the Regional Food Bank is to help families that obviously are struggling to even pay the rent or pay their mortgage. And when you're grasped with, well, do I pay my bills or do I put food on my table? Or now I don't even have money for food. So what you're doing on a regional basis, but here in Albany County, I can't thank you, Mark, and your whole organization, because without you, there'd be people going hungry. And you think about that in 2020, how can that even be possible in today's society? And it happens. So, Mark, please, you want to talk about everything you're doing? I appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you, Dan. And it has been a great partnership, and we're honored to be able to help in some way. And the words you use are words that we use all the time, that people have to make decisions about whether they're going to pay their rent or pay their medical bill or pay their utility bill or feed themselves. And that happens every day, and that's why the Regional Food Bank exists. But now we're facing an unprecedented situation in terms of the need. So with all the people who are unemployed right now, and talking with one of your staff when we first set up the food distribution, they mentioned something I had never thought of, that so many people are quarantined right now. And said if, as a county, we're going to require they be quarantined, we have to make sure at the same time they have enough food to eat, and that had never crossed my mind. So that is certainly a message that we have tried to convey when we talk to people about the need. So since I can put the date down, March 16th, when we really realized that we have to change a number of things that we do when schools started to close and businesses started closing down. And we had already seen some increase in the demand before then, but literally had to turn on the switch and ramp things up very considerably right away. So since that time, we have helped in a number of different ways. On a regular basis, we are serving food pantries throughout 23 counties. We cover pretty much the whole eastern part of New York State. And they began to see a big increase. In fact, in many of the food pantries we serve, they're now serving 50% more people than they commonly care for during the course of the year. And they rely very heavily on the food bank for that food. So we have seen, similarly, about a 50% increase in our regular distribution, people just going to food pantries and getting assistance right through the pantry network throughout the 23 counties. But that really was never going to be able to deal with the entire situation we face right now, because these pantries, they're taking on that extra burden, but there's just a cap on what they're able to do. So we have partnered now with many different groups. Albany County, we've had a great partnership in terms of providing food. So Albany County contacted us. They wanted to set up special distribution using the Times Union Center downtown to do those. And they've been doing that on a regular basis now. Same in Schenectady County and a number of other municipalities throughout our service area. And also some other nonprofit groups or other groups just got together and decided we'd like to do a special distribution in this community, whether it's Cobleskill or Mechanicville or down in Newburgh, wherever it is. They've asked if we can assist with that. And so every single time we get asked, the answer is yes, and we provide a load. Typically it's about 12 pallets of food, about 12,000 to 15,000 pounds of food that we will provide for them to do their special distribution. Sometimes it's bigger than that. So we have the pantries who have a big increased need. We have the special distributions that we're taking on. We also have targeted certain groups. Seniors are especially in a difficult situation right now and most vulnerable. They're in a situation where it's not very safe for them or probably appropriate for them to be traveling a lot and going to grocery stores. Some of them just can't get out. They depend on public transportation. They really can't get out. So now they're stuck in their apartments or in their homes, and they need help with food. So we've been doing a lot with senior citizens, working with senior housing centers to provide food assistance for the seniors. Also kids, you have to make sure that the kids are properly fed. We have backpack programs that typically provide a weekend worth of food for children in need, low-income children throughout our service area. We have about 250 schools that we work with in that program. And right now, when schools closed, we were worried that those programs would be over and those kids would be especially exposed on weekends. But out of the 250, 235 are still running those programs, and many of them have even increased. They've added on more kids or they've added on additional food because they know these families are at higher risk. So and then we also, we have been very fortunate over the years to have great support from the restaurant industry. They help with our fundraising events. They've just been there for us for all of our existence. And so we immediately reached out to some of the friends we have in the hospitality industry and offered some extra food to help their workers, because I can't think of an industry that's been more negatively impacted than the restaurant industry, where pretty much, I don't know what the number is, but a very, very high percentage of their workforce is laid off. So we've been setting up special distributions to help with people who are hurt in the restaurant industry also. So it's been a combination of a number of things, just the general increase and then targeted distributions to help out throughout our 23 counties. Our total distribution is up about 50%. We provided, since I think March 16th, well over 5 million pounds of food for the people that we serve throughout that area, which is a big increase. And we don't see an end to that. So we've been working very hard on, because you can't give the food out unless the food is coming in. So fortunately, we're a member of Feeding America, which is the national network of food banks. You may have seen a lot of promotion on TV and ads about Feeding America. So through that relationship, we're able also to bring in food into this community from across the country. And we're really focusing on that right now because we have to keep that food flowing in. The last thing I ever would want to say to somebody who says we need food for our families in our community, I just can't even imagine saying no. So we're working very hard to try to continue to say yes, and not just to provide food, but you've seen it, Dan. It's not just canned food. It's produce and meat and milk and dairy products. We're really trying to, that's what's most available to us. That's what we're trying to provide so people can eat normally and not take a big step back and hurt their health at the same time.
No, I do. Mark, I appreciate everything that you do because I've gone out there and it's amazing what the volunteers do in your whole organization. And again, we don't want anyone going hungry, so it is crucial. So if people can continue to donate stuff, we would appreciate that. And thank you for all the work that you do day in, day out.
Thank you. And I should just say thank you to all the people who have been so generous to us. People have recognized that our need is greater now, and people have been very generous in many ways. So I want to thank everybody for that.
And that being said, we have Pete Gannon here and to give you a check for $10,000 from the Muslim community that donated the $20,000 2 weeks ago. So we're going to get you that check afterwards to help you keep going in the right direction.
Great.
And,
well, thank you, Dan, and thank you to the Muslim community, too.
And I can't thank United Way and Pete Gannon for everything he's been doing. He's, day one, called me on the phone, what can we do, how can we help, and utilize us, and we have. And Peter, thank you. Thank you, too, for everything that you're doing. Some of the good things I want to share, I've, through NISAC, Steve Aquario, and our organization, we reached out. I talked to county executives across the state of New York, and we were running short on certain PPE, and we needed it. So I want to give a huge shout out to County Executive Pat Ryan and County Executive Mark Marinello for everything that they did, because they gave us gowns, they gave us suits, they gave us gloves, and a variety of other stuff, and I can't thank you enough. That's going to keep our mobile testing sites going for a couple more weeks. We're running short on that. It's going to help us out in our nursing home. To Mark and Ryan, thank you. I appreciate it. Dutchess and Ulster County residents, thank you for helping us out, and all the other county executives that have, we've actually shared stuff going back and forth, because there is a shortage of PPE, and we need to get it for our nursing homes. We need to get it for our hospitals, and if you have extra around, please get it to us. Get it to us so we can get it out to the people. So thank you. And as always, our mental health hotline is going 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The number's up, 269-6634, and the 211 number from United Way. So Peter, thank you for that. In New York State hotline. And to everyone, please utilize that. And again, to everyone that's doing what they should be doing, thank you. And to the 32 families in Albany County, my heart and condolences and my prayers go out to all of you. Thank you.